trends impacting the 3PL industry. My guest today is Chipper Farley. He is president of 3PL Solutions with Made for Net. Hello, Chipper.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.
Now, if you're a 3PL, integrating systems is a challenge. It is a challenge for everybody, but especially if you're a 3PL with multiple customers. How do you see that process as evolving, and what new trends do you see emerging around integration in that space?
Well, integration has been part of the 3PL industry for a long time, but for most of that history it was file-based with EDI and traditional integrations of that nature. More recently, 3PLs are being asked, and at least in my experience, it's become preferable to integrate via API and much more modern methods of integration, but not only with your clients, with suppliers and end consumers, and also now, especially as we see here at ProMat, all of the various third-party tools that are being leveraged in the warehouse operations with the robots or things like that. So the scope of what integration means to a 3PL is bigger now than it's ever been.
So the systems have to integrate, but you also have standardized messaging formats. Are we talking still about EDI, or is it application programming interfaces, API? How are you standardizing the exchange of data among so many different entities?
That's a challenge. Often that is outsourced. Many 3PLs really can benefit from a provider that's good at handling proprietary formats and also adjusting to APIs that are not so standard, maybe from smaller providers or things of that nature. But it is incredibly uncommon anymore to find a 3PL that isn't staring right down the barrel of some kind of integration challenge.
Yeah. The joke is we love standards. That's why there are so many of them.
That's right. Show me an EDI standard that gets followed, and I'll show you a surprised face.
That's right. Okay, so COVID was the big game changer, obviously. We're still recovering. Maybe we haven't, I don't know. How do you see providers in the wake of COVID changing their way of providing e-commerce systems, e-commerce services? What's the challenge there, and how are they doing?
Well, I think it obviously varies by provider, but COVID did bring e-commerce into the frame for almost every 3PL provider, even providers that never did or even considered doing e-commerce. We've seen hazmat specialists that wanted to get into e-commerce following COVID. Not all did, but a lot of providers delved very heavily into that space. And coming out of COVID, e-commerce still is very pervasive, but it is now more often a component of an overall omni-channel solution. Not always. There are still your sites that are just selling straight to the customer, but an omni-channel solution where retail sites or staging areas or perhaps return centers or things of that nature have added kind of a complexity to the e-com model where, again, it's not just the e-com solution, it's e-com within the context of a broader omni-channel solution.
Together all these different channels into one term, omni-channel.
Right.
Because before, in the early days of e-commerce, you had it all separate into
just one. You're doing e-com and that's all.
Right. Can't let you go without talking about AI, right? Artificial intelligence. How has it made its way into the 3PL space? How have they adopted it? Yes or no? How are they doing?
I would say AI is making its way into 3PL.
I don't know how to interpret the progress. What do you mean?
It's on the periphery. So you're seeing a fair amount of API driving autonomous solutions, whether it's drones or robots or things of that nature. But we still see quite a few 3PLs who aren't really entirely sure what AI even is or what it can do. Yeah, it is. It's a mystery to some, but as we see here at ProMat, it is everywhere. I expect that in just the next few years, it's going to become much more prevalent. Especially in 3PL, there's a huge value in being able to take advantage of the data that you have in a very rapid way, and AI is uniquely positioned to do that just because of its ability to take data that can span across different customers and distill it a lot faster than something like dashboarding or more traditional business intelligence could. So it's definitely there in the 3PL space, again, kind of around the periphery is what we see, but that's not going to last long.
Yeah. By definition, I like to think, or I would think, that a 3PL is very margin challenged. They've got to keep their costs down.
Yes.
Increasing demands all the time from their customers. It would seem to me that automation would be a natural for them. Is that indeed the case? How are 3PLs embracing automation right now?
That has increased a lot in the past few years.
Yeah.
3PLs, there's different ways that they can price their business, but you often don't see contracts that extend longer than 3 years. Sometimes you do, but some are just month to month. So in an environment like that, it's challenging to justify a large capital investment, especially if that investment is going to result in a big piece of material handling equipment that's fixed into your operation and not easily moved or taken down or something like that. But the advancement in robotics and all of the much more flexible automation solutions that are out there have really changed that, as well as the way that many of those solutions are priced, where you can flex in and out of robots or subscribe to them almost as a service as opposed to lay out a big capital outlay. That's changed it a lot, and we are seeing a considerable amount of robotics in our client base, drones as well. There's quite a bit of value in using them for inventory control management. So I think many of the barriers to automation that had existed for a long time in the 3PL space, they've really declined quite a bit.
I think there's no argument that it is a necessity that 3PLs get on board with automation and AI in order to meet the increasing demands of their customer base.
It really is. Labor is always a challenge, and many regions in the warehouse, like Memphis, for example, have emerged as where many 3PLs and traditional distribution operations are standing up facilities and operations. The competition for labor is very intense, and automation provides a solution there. It also makes people happier often. If people don't have to walk so much in an operation on a hard concrete floor, they're a little happier at their job, and you can retain them a little easier.
Chipper, thank you so much for sitting down with me to talk about these trends impacting the 3PL industry, automation, AI, and like. Thanks very much for that. Can I take a moment to ask you about Made for Net specifically?
Sure.
Tell me about yourself, tell me about your company.
Sure. So Made for Net is a supply chain execution software provider. We focus on warehouse management systems. We have two. There's the Supply Chain Expert System, which is a general purpose warehouse management system that's suitable for just about any application. The team that I lead up is the Synapse 3PL Expert system and team. Our system is tailor-made for 3PL operations, and we've had our software on the market for quite some time now. Made for Net is in the Magic Quadrant. We have facilities installed all around the globe, hundreds and hundreds of them, and we've really enjoyed being here at ProMat and enjoyed talking to you.
Well, thank you. Enjoyed talking to you, Chipper Farley. I really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you.
That was Chipper Farley of Made for Net. Thank you very much for watching.